Morality's a fickle thing when you're broke, Cat. Freelance was produced and directed by John Balaz, who did Rage and some other projects, and was written by Mike Gerbino, who did a 2022 short called Freelance. This is the expanded version of that particular story. And the stars Nicole Pastor as Katie, or Cat to her friends, who's a freelance editor. Whoa, in a movie called Freelance. Slow down, movie. Let me soak in this detail before you hit me over the head with anything else. But in all seriousness, she's just really trying to make it in this world. Being a freelance anything really can come with its perks. You set your own hours, you do your own things, but then the payments sometimes take a while to come in. You can fall behind on bills, like rent. So there's a side story about the landlord understandably being upset that Katie or Kat is behind on rent, and also, there's something just a little bit off about the guy. More on that in a bit. But fortunately, she does have a couple good friends. She has Kevin, Jordan Fraser Trumbull, who has some connections and seems like an overall good guy. And then, speaking of guys, she has a friend named Guy. Hi, Guy. Stephen DeGarnaro, who has a massive film collection to the point that he actually has some, put together by director. And let's just say that Kat, has her own things that come home to roost and when it comes to these particular friendships and everything. And while these three seem to get along pretty goddamn well, yeah, there are certain things that are going to bubble up. And meanwhile, Katie, struggling to basically make it, ends up getting a job to edit snuff films from some unknown source. Basically, it's going to offer big pay. She can take care of bills. She can help out, people if possible. She can get back up on her rent, and also she can take care of her cat, a beautiful orange kitty cat that's just all meowy and cute and everything. And I love cats. I love goddamn cats. Kind of fitting that her nickname would be Cat. But it turns out that editing snuff films, it's not all it's cracked up to be, because is it real? Is it fake? Is it real? Is it Memorex? And these snuff films, the themes of them, and really a whole lot of stuff starts to seep into her real life. Haunting her, are people watching her? Does she always feel like somebody's watching her? She has no privacy. I know that's not how the words go, but Rockwell will not have to worry about getting upset at me, assuming he's still alive. Basically, this movie hinges on Nicole Pastor's ability to carry this, even though Jordan and Steven do well as the two respective friends. It basically hinges on this particular performance by Nicole. And I have to say, she is the best part of the movie. She has a great face, a great presence for horror, and also she has beautiful, intense green. My goodness. Green in some shots and kind of, bluish in other shots. Beautiful eyes. Very, very captivating. But she really, from the moment she appears on screen, you can see the conflict with her character and the fact they build this character pretty goddamn well. And while I think that this movie could have stood a little bit of editing, I think 110 minutes is a little bit much. I think 95 probably would have been the sweet spot. I do have to say, as far as world building and as far as putting a spin on how snuff films would be perceived and how they would be utilized in horror, I think this did a pretty damn good job, actually. I spent about, almost $9 after tax renting it on Amazon and was very happy that I did. I got a few, flashbacks to Red Rooms, which is funny to say that because Red Rooms just came out a few months ago. It's on Shudder, by the way, if you want to check it out. This is available, of course, on Amazon to rent. As far as dealing with a dark subject matter and mostly dealing with computer screens and stuff like that. Now, Red Rooms is tonally a little bit different, but there are a couple similarities. Again, Nicole Pastor does a pretty damn good job here, and I look forward to seeing what else she can do. And the director, producer, and the writer did a pretty damn good job. The fact that the writer did the original short and was able to expand on this, I thought they did pretty good. There were some nice, intense, violent moments. I thought the ending was pretty impactful. And I thought the way they wrapped around the story was pretty goddamn good, even if it's a little predictable. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious, where this was going once one particular character got introduced, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this is a pretty damn good movie. Not the best, but pretty goddamn good. So I am going to get into spoilers in a little bit, but I do have to say, as far as, Australian horror, this is actually pretty goddamn good. Well built. Nicole, once again, very, very good, and other good acting as well. And Kitty, So anyway, I'm going to get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, yeah, in the beginning there was rap, as our Lord and Savior Dr. Dre once said. I like the computer screen credits, produced by, music by, all that. That was very well done. And she was adding, like, adult films, and I'm like, you want to wear your headphones while you're doing that? Nope. So, okay, he's a struggling artist. We've all been there. Guy is a film buff and also kind of a FWB, Friends with Benefits. Why do I use FWB? I'm 44 years old. It was a funny moment where it's obvious she wasn't into it, and I just thought of Mrs. Krabappel. She's faking it. So basically, because this is not paying the rent, the idea is $1,000 per video, 4 videos. You do all 4 videos, edit them properly, and you get the money. Kitty cat, I do have to say though, the one thing again, and I understand why they did this stuff with the cat at the end. They didn't show the death, but the cat does die. They don't show it on camera, thankfully, because I would have had to have docked it. That's my one thing about horror movies is animal violence. I don't know why. But the landlord understandably is upset because she's behind on rent, but to be fair, he's also not necessarily the best landlord, as we find out later. He's not taking care of the utilities. He's not taking care of repairs. And it doesn't sound like he's doing this for anybody else. Granted, she seems like the only tenant in this particular apartment complex. But Kevin is more of a mutual friend, or more of an understanding friend, shall we say. We find out why a little bit later. And a box arrives and basically says, edit, add music, make it scary. Well, we see stuff like this blonde woman being stalked in her house. And I see it's okay when people do that, but if I do it, then... Moving on from that, we see a camping trip one where things don't end well because camping can be intense. I'm so sorry. And also we see one where a guy in a basement with a brick wall, more on that later, ends up taking his own life on a, from a ladder. Not like David Carradine, who seemed to go willingly, but then again, we see some other videos and stuff like that. We also see a side plot with her mom. Her mom kind of needs money because she's struggling with her bills. Nicole is not sure about doing these videos, but she really does need the money. She has a little sidebar with a barista named Olive. I have to say I did appreciate that character as well. That actress did pretty good in the couple scenes. She was allowed to really flex her muscles, acting muscles that is. Get your minds out of the gutter. So, mother needs to pay the medical bill. And the thing is, I was wondering if we were going to go with a deep fake thing. And we were going to have, like, them pretending to be the mother to get her to give away some of the money. But no, the mother is struggling. I did like how, as these edits went on, we got, more intense. And a little more, tension got built. She discovers, there's some really nasty stuff about these videos. These videos are actually real. Time to research. It starts to seep into her life. Her cat does end up poisoned and does eventually die, unfortunately. And yeah, she basically gets more offers. Like after she does this, she's like, okay, I'm done. Here's the next offer, 5 videos. Now, she's going to keep doing this because she needs money, but also she's locked in. She's locked in and her family is being threatened. Kevin also mentions during a lunch meeting that what's the worst job that he ever had. He had to convince a bunch of guys to be like part of this show. It sounded like a dating show thing from the way it was going, but convinced them that it was going to be good for them, but they end up getting kind of humiliated. And then one of the guys he got really close to as far as, friends and everything, but he used that trust basically to advance his own career. And now he felt sick after that. He wasn't able to get out of bed for a bit. He had to pull himself out of it, refuse some big money jobs. Again, more, I wonder if you can guess where this is going. Meanwhile, the cat ends up, in a box. Could have done without that. But, they don't show it. They don't show it. She does get a hard drive with some other films and blood on the packing peanuts. So, She did also notice at one point that there was a camera pointed at her apartment that it seemed like the landlord had installed there. Suddenly that camera is gone. More on that in a bit. She decides to take this hard drive to the police after seeing, some really, really nasty stuff because the guy is being beaten in a toilet stall and, drinking bleach. It's like John Moxley was trying to do his own snuff film. Badass. So that's like two people that are wrestling fans are gonna love that. Everybody else is gonna be monumentally confused. So, she ends up kind of not talking to Guy anymore because she kind of gets away from him. I thought maybe we were going to go with another deep fake, and this was the group of people sending out these videos that were trying to just basically isolate her, but she didn't want to hurt him. Kevin shows up to talk to her, tells all that stuff that I mentioned a little bit earlier. She goes to do some job searching. This is after Kevin tried to get her a real job to get out of it, but that kind of gets blown. She keeps seeing this cat around in the cafe. At the job interview, she kind of erodes. Again, Nicole doing a fabulous job here in the lead role. Yeah, the job searching isn't going well. Also, she gets sent videos where her mother, her brother, and her entire family are going to be basically killed if she doesn't do this job or she doesn't do these videos. So it turns out the cat was poisoned. That's what the vet said. She decides to pass it on to someone else. Like, do not leave without a referral is something that was said in the chat a few times. So she gets Olive to help her, the barista, but she can't go through with it because finds out that Olive is pregnant. She can't pass that on to her. She decides to, you know what, I'm going to go do some amateur porn stuff. No, really, there was a guy named Joe that offered her something. This actress named Lauren, her character named Lauren shows up. And yeah, a little bit of a brief thing into the seedy underbelly of porn. How old are you? Oh, 18. You gotta start somewhere. It's like, yeah, I don't know. She couldn't do it though. She ended up puking. Cat, that is. And then she basically says, I'll do it. Well, too late. You can't do that. You took too long with editing these videos. Too late. Okay, here's another offer. You can self-produce something. You have to kill somebody. That's how they get you. That's how, wrapping back around to the blonde woman who was stalked in her house or whatever, that I would have never done anything like that. The guy's saying, I'm sorry. Me, he didn't want to do it, but he's wrapped up in this. It's the only way to get away. Possibly. She ends up going to see Guy. She ends up recording this, and she's trying to choke him. I'm not saying I would be necessarily against it. An Aussie redhead choking you, but nevertheless, let's just move on from that. We get a brief glimpse into what she's willing to do, but she just can't do it. She just can't kill Guy. But then she goes to Kevin's house, and Kevin's understanding this kind of stuff and everything, and then she goes up into his basement and sees the same brick wall, that was behind the guy that hung himself off the ladder. Because Kevin got wrapped up in this because they threatened his family. And he was trying to find a way to get her out. And all this stuff was going on. And yeah, you kind of saw that coming without Kevin was a little bit too understanding of it. Wasn't necessarily, it wasn't necessarily like, okay, you're fucking crazy. Because he knew what the fuck it was. And basically she ends up killing him. And then she's all covered in blood. She puts on her glasses. I wasn't turned on. I certainly wasn't. I don't have issues. You have issues. No, in all seriousness, I thought that was a great shot. Just the pain on her face, but the resignment to her fate, like what she did. And then she sees videos of the fact that it turns out her landlord killed her or killed her cat. Oh, here's another project. Okay, I can do that. So now she's wrapped up in this and is going to kill her landlord. Which, yes, you obviously would want to get your rent and stuff like that. But maybe don't kill the cat because you probably shouldn't do that. Really shouldn't do that. So, yes, it does have a few things that could have been added out. I think there are a few scenes they could have cut completely. But for good world building, for Nicole Passer's tremendous performance, and for the, overarching story and the nice build. We could do a sequel, possibly. I don't know if we need to, but good stuff. A-. I'll give it credit for an A- as far as, the great stuff. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ricklin. I'll see you soon.